Fed sees little progress on inflation, your news update, and we talk real Robocops on this edition of Arbitrage News Weekend, starting right now. Hello and welcome to Arbitrage News Weekend for April 15th, 2023. I'm Joshua Stark. On Friday, a high-ranking Federal Reserve official stated that inflation has remained largely unchanged for over a year, and that additional interest rate increases are necessary to rein in prices. Christopher Waller, a member of the Fed's governing board, did not specify the number of increases he advocated for, but emphasized that inflation remains excessively high and therefore my job is not complete. Although inflation slowed last month due to declines in food and fuel costs, core prices, which include these volatile categories, continued to rise and are now 5.6% higher than they were a year ago. Waller highlighted that core prices have been increasing at a comparable or higher rate since December 2021. Assisted by higher interest rates, J.P. Morgan Chase & Company reported a 52% surge in its first quarter profits, allowing the bank to charge more for loans and attract a noticeable growth in deposits as customers and businesses flock to the banking giant following the failure of Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank last month. The robust results from J.P. Morgan, as well as strong performances from Citigroup and Wells Fargo on Friday, suggest that there are few indicators of potential banking system troubles, at least among the largest and most intricate financial institutions in the nation. Octavio Marenzi, CEO of the consulting firm Optimus, stated in an email that these were the most closely watched bank earnings reports in more than a decade, with market observers meticulously reviewing the findings for any signs of weakness in the U.S. banking industry. On Thursday, Montana lawmakers moved a step closer to passing a bill that would prohibit TikTok from operating in the state. While this move is likely to face legal challenges, it could also act as a test case for the broader idea of a TikTok-free America that many national lawmakers have proposed. Montana's proposal, which has the support of the state's GOP-controlled legislature, goes beyond the bans already in place in nearly half of U.S. states and the federal government. These bans only prohibit TikTok on government devices. On Thursday, the House approved the bill with a vote of 60 to 39, a final vote on Friday, in which the bill will be sent to Republican Governor Greg Gianforte for consideration. Governor Gianforte has already banned TikTok on government devices in Montana. On Friday, a Spanish mountaineer emerged from a cave located 238 feet below ground level where she had spent 500 days in isolation from the outside world. Beatriz Flamini, a 50-year-old from Madrid, left the cave situated in southern Spain shortly after 9 a.m. After receiving confirmation from her supporters that she had accomplished the challenge she had embarked on since November 21st, 2021. According to Spanish media, the time spent underground has set a new world record, although this claim has yet to be verified. Later on, the Spanish news agency EFE reported that Flamini had to temporarily suspend the challenge after approximately 300 days due to a technical issue and had to leave the cave for 8 days. More after this on Arbitrage News Weekend, including Royce and I. Stick around.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5. Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again. Then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
This week's Arbitrage blog includes The Taxman Cometh, Home Building is Bullish, and we talk real Robocops. That's right. All this and more in this week's Arbitrage blog, available now at arbitragetrade.com. Now let's go to the president and CEO of Arbitrage, Mr. Royce Wells, for more. Royce, how's tax season working out for you?
I got to do it. We got about a week.
Boy,
less than a week. 3 days, 4 days from where this will drop. So, yeah.
Correct. Correct. It's,
Tuesday.
It's dropping on the 18th this year.
Tuesday, the 18th,
right?
correct.
So-
Make sure you get those done. Or if you need to file an extension, make sure you file your extension.
Yes. So we've talked about a lot of things when it comes to taxes and taxation and how things roll, as well as banking and credit
All
and
that
things like
jazz.
that.
Yep.
And all that jazz. I was expecting you to go for that one, but no.
No, that's out of my range. Actually, she could be a tenor. I don't know. Let's go. Continue.
We've covered stuff like credit scores, which, by the way, didn't exist for your grandparents when they were purchasing their first homes, for a McChicken with a joint income of around $15K per year and a letter from your pastor.
Yep, that's about right. You still can do that, believe it or not. All you need, technically, is a year worth of utility bills and a year worth of rent, and they don't have to necessarily check your credit score for you to qualify to buy a house.
Let's find one bank that can do that.
Any bank can do that, promise you.
They can, but will they? That's the thing.
Yeah, they absolutely will.
Huh. Well, speaking of bank fees, we had bank fees that we talked about. You can opt out of certain fees. We talked about that. But by the way, we've got a ton of stuff on our blog, and we've been working on it for a long time. We are approaching 1,000 blog entries.
Excellent.
Seriously, man. Ari and I.
Man, that's kind of blogged up.
Moving on.
Level up.
Moving on. Just wanted to let you know as well, we have a lot of things going on with our website right now with Arbitrage Trade Assist. But taxes, a little bit freaked out, right?
They're taxes.
They're
taxes. You got to pay the piper. If you don't pay the piper, they come looking for you. So pay your taxes.
Two things come, death and taxes, right?
Yes. This is often true.
The Civil War kind of screwed up revenue generated by taxes, and the government implemented the tax code after the Civil War ended in 1865. Took them about 40 years to figure out what was going on there, and it's the monster that we know today. Started in 1909.
Interesting. Okay.
So anytime you look for tax records, they only go back to 1913 or so.
Good to know. I learned a lot today.
I wasn't around, but the federal income tax code.
Was.
Yeah. Absolutely. The federal income tax code started in 1913, where taxes have little to do with income equality and more to do with government revenue streams. So, anytime you see a tax increase, you can thank your government, right?
But hey, at least it's voted on.
There we go. Stick around for more with Royce and me. We're going to be talking about housing and home building stocks and that sort of thing. And we'll also be talking about Robocops.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys! I love this song!
I love these nachos.
I love our kickball league! Ugh! I love this guy!
What's your name?
You know what I'd love?
A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
To protect her home and family in a disaster, Karen was willing to wade through water, mud, and insurance paperwork.
Yeah, I can do this.
You go, Karen! By simply understanding and updating what her insurance covers and doesn't cover now, she'll be better prepared no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
People working from home became younger, more diverse, better educated, and more likely to move during the worst part of the COVID-19 pandemic, according to survey data from the U.S. Census Bureau. In many respects, the demographic makeup of people working from home from 2019 to 2021 became more like workers who were commuting, while the share of the U.S. labor force working from home went from 5.7% in 2019 to 17.9% in 2021, as restrictions were implemented to help slow the spread of the virus, according to a report released last week based on American Community Survey data. The increase in home-based workers corresponded with a decline in drivers, carpoolers, transit riders, and other types of commuters, the report said. The share of people working from home between ages 25 and 34 jumped from 16% to 23% from 2019 to 2021. The share of home-based workers who are black went from 7.8% to 9.5%, and it went from 5.7% to 9.6% for Asian workers. It remained flat for Hispanic workers, the report said. The share of home-based workers with a college degree also jumped from just over half to more than 2/3, and people working from home were more likely to have moved in the past year than commuters. The two industry groups that saw the greatest jumps in people working from home were in information, where it went from 10.4% to 42%, and finance, insurance, and real estate going from 10.8% to 38.4%. Professional and administrative services also went from 12.6% to 36.5%. The smallest gains were in agriculture and mining, entertainment and food services, and the armed forces. While every income level saw jumps in people working from home, those in the highest income bracket were most likely to work from home. While it doubled from 2019 to 2021 for workers in the lowest income bracket, it tripled for those in the highest, the report said. Home-based work also varied by region. By 2021, it was more prevalent in the West and Northeast, making up about a fifth of the workforce, compared to 16.2% in the South and 15.8% in the Midwest. The variation may have been caused by the availability of internet access, the cluster of information technology jobs on the coasts, and the way people commute, whether by car or public transportation, the report said. The tech-heavy San Francisco and San Jose metro areas had a more than third of their labor force working from home in 2021, the largest share among metros with more than 1 million residents. Since most pandemic restrictions have been lifted since the 2021 survey was taken, it's unknown at this point if the growth in work from home is permanent. If only temporarily, the COVID-19 pandemic generated a massive shift in the way people in the United States are related to their workplace location, the report said. With the centrality of work and commuting in American life, the widespread adoption of home-based work was a defining feature of the pandemic era. Go to our website at arbitragetrade.com. Take a look at Arbitrage Trade Assist. Trade while you sleep and across time zones with Arbitrage Trade Assist. Back after this.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here.
I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe, and is the best way to protect that legacy. You know what? We should make an emergency communication plan. That way we're ready this year. At my dorm, we have emergency kits for earthquakes and wildfires, but I'm sure there's something more local. I can send you with a link.
Okay, smart.
Protect your legacy. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
So, Royce, we were talking about during the break home builder stocks. Apparently, home builder stocks are quite bullish right now. Investors betting on a dearth of previously occupied homes and moderating mortgage rates, and they'll boost builders' prospects in the home buying season. What do you think?
I personally think this is where I'm at on the entire real estate investments right now, right? Using our indicators, if you look at our arbitrage band on our monthly chart, very, very scary things are happening. So this is what I'm going to say. I'm not going to say what things are happening. Hey, need to go to get arbitrage and go look at that to find out about that.
We are not financial advisors.
I didn't say one. I'd say it's scary, right? So this is my mantra. I would rather have and not need than need and not have.
I hear you.
Part of the 2008 crash, basically, everyone had a whole bunch of equity in their houses.
Yes.
And when the market crashed, they lost all that equity. Right?
Bye-bye.
So if I were a person, Thursday.
You are a person.
I am a person. Thursday, I will be closing on my own home equity line of credit.
Congratulations.
It's basically the bank gives you a loan on the property that you own. You don't have to withdraw a penny out of it, by the way. It's an emergency fund. Most families have the ability to live on 2 to 3 months of their income, but after that, they're basically stuck. A home equity line of credit basically allows you to basically have emergency money and emergency funds available to you just in case bad things happen. And they're good for about 10 years.
Just to dial that in a little bit, it's called a HELOC, or HELOC, home equity line of credit.
Honestly, from what I'm seeing on the charts, I'm expecting a lot of people may need those in the very near future. So basically, I would rather have it and not need it. And basically, it doesn't cost you anything to have it open. It's literally just a line of credit that basically you get to pay back to the bank if you ever use any portion of it. I would rather have it than not need it.
There you go. I mean, and the cool thing about home equity lines of credit is you already pay on your house.
Yes.
Right? And basically that builds on the equity that you have in your home.
Correct.
To give you money you may need in an emergency, or to reinvest said money.
Well, you could reinvest it, but for example, if you had a home equity line of credit during the 2008 crash, you could have used that home equity line of credit to pay on your actual mortgage to prevent yourself from losing your house.
Yeah.
So like I said, it's an emergency line of credit that basically allows, and you are only paying interest. So that way, basically, if you did fall on hard times, the only thing that you'd make sure your house was secure, and you'd have a very, very small bill that you would have to pay to the bank wherever you got that line of credit to make sure that you didn't lose your house, and basically you wouldn't starve and you wouldn't be put out. Right? So in scary times, make sure you save and have money put aside for such an emergency.
All right, so some good information there. Thank you, Royce, for that. And please remember, we're available 24/7 at arbitragetrade.com. And our podcast is available wherever you find your fine podcasts at Arbitrage Trade. More after this on Arbitrage News.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5. Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again. Then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling on it.
The dad joke. Corny, groan-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
What did the buffalo say when he dropped his son off for school? Bye, son.
So take a moment to make your kid laugh, because dad jokes rule. Make your kid laugh today. Go to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Actress Diana Maria Riva is all too familiar with one of her shows being canceled. For a performer, it's a painful, unfortunate part of show business, but this was different. In December, Riva was floored when she found out that Gordita Chronicles, her recently canceled family comedy, would be removed from HBO Max's vast streaming library, one of dozens of shows that HBO last year effectively wiped from existence for U.S. viewers, among others, Westworld, The Time Traveler's Wife, Minx, Mrs. Fletcher, and numerous animated and reality series. For Riva, the developments were crushing. Over 10 episodes, the critically lauded series followed a plus-sized 12-year-old named Cuckoo as she and her Dominican family adapt to life in 1980s Miami. It was as if somebody had broken up with you and then came back to remind you a couple of weeks later that we've broken up, said Riva, who played Cuckoo's mother. It was already heartbreaking, but then it's an added punch just to say, now we're going to wipe the evidence of you ever having been here. As streamers face mounting pressure to save money, several have followed HBO's lead. Erasing original shows from their libraries can help streamers get tax write-downs and, to a smaller extent, save on residual payments. But it brings criticism that they are sidelining already marginalized voices and shortchanging creatives out of already slimmer residual paychecks. These issues have increased tension between executives and writers amid union contract negotiations that started last month and could lead to a significant work stoppage this spring. Streaming companies offer this defense. They never promised that shows would live forever. In a hyper-competitive, changing market, they say each streamer is trying to balance ample offerings with sheer survival. Amid the downturn in the tech and media industries, streamers are being pushed to cut spending and turn a profit rather than chasing growth at all costs, media analyst Dan Rayburn says. These companies have had to change the way they're spending on content because Wall Street says you've got to get to profitability much faster, Rayburn says. He cites how Disney's stock nosedived in November after the company revealed that its direct-to-consumer unit, which includes Disney+, Hulu, and ESPN+, lost nearly $1.5 billion in one quarter. HBO's 2022 purges, which occurred as its parent company, Warner Brothers, merged with Discovery, enabling a slew of tax write-off possibilities, were the most notable example. But its rivals quickly followed suit. In January, Starz erased a handful of shows, including Dangerous Liaisons, a costume drama that disappeared from its streaming app days after the finale aired. Some fans said they missed the last episode. Then a few weeks later, Showtime underwent its own culling. It eliminated the Jeff Daniels-led drama American Rust, among others. Paramount Plus, with Showtime integrating into the service, also did the same with some of its offerings, including Jordan Peele's revival of The Twilight Zone. Some of those shows have found new homes. For those that haven't, including Gordita Chronicles, the effects of their disappearance are widespread. Potential viewers might never have a chance to discover it. Actors and writers no longer know if their work will ever be seen again, and the original streamer no longer has to pay residuals. More after this.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
What is dedication?
My daughter is biological and my son is adopted. I love them both so much. From the morning when you wake up to putting them to bed at night and every moment in between. I think a parent's job is to protect our children, but also prepare them for the world so they become good, kind human beings.
That's dedication. Find out more at fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Royce, that paragon of peace known as New York City has done it again.
What have they done?
They've gone real Robocop, my friend.
Sweet. It's the little thing going, No?
No.
Oh.
No.
You know what I'm talking about, though, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. What was the name of that robot? Anyway?
8209.
I knew you would know that.
There we go. Yes, from the classic known as Robocop, the first one, not the second one, but you know.
Come with me if you want to live.
That's not Robocop.
I know that's Terminator,
okay.
But it seemed appropriate.
Okay, that's all right. So anyway, it looks like New York City has unveiled 3 new high-tech policing devices.
Okay.
Including a robot dog from Boston Dynamics. If you follow robotics, you know this platform. It's been around for quite a few years. They've tried to sell it to DARPA and a few other places, and I think they have actually. But this robotic dog, critics kind of
1010.
Yeah, emphasis on the 10.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, yeah. So this new robotic dog, critics are calling it kind of creepy.
Why is it creepy, Josh?
Well, the thing is that it doesn't have a head.
Who would do that?
Boston Dynamics.
Okay, what does it have instead of a head?
It has kind of a radome type situation.
Oh.
So
like Jetsons, like Bowie Bubblehead or something.
Kinda.
I'm sorry, that's Galaxy High. My bad.
They call it DigiDog, and it's an interesting little a police dog that they use for situations that might not be the best for a human to go into. For example, it could be deployed in hostage standoffs and barricaded people. So it's a smart way to kind of use that technology to keep humans safe.
I like it.
Yeah.
But how much does it cost if it gets shot?
Dude,
these are taxpayer dollars.
I don't even want to think about the cost of these things. I imagine there's subsidy on top of subsidy because these things are not cheap. Definitely not.
Sweet.
There's also a tracking system utilized by some of these robots called Star Chase that'll allow police to launch a GPS tag a la Spider-Man. It'll attach itself to a stolen car, and
nice.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be.
I want to know
cool
the person brave enough to try to steal one of those guys.
I don't know where Josh is.
Stupid, hey.
I don't know where Josh is, but hey.
Oh no.
There's also a thing called the autonomous security robot, kind of likened to a conical shaped Roomba. That is supposed to be patrolling the Times Square subway station.
Cool.
So
I want to know who is investing in this.
Here's the thing with that, right? It's budgeted. It's a budgeted line item in the New York budget. They're buying these robot dogs and things like that, and it's going to be interesting to see how it goes.
I am buying an erector set and moving to New York City.
An erector set?
Yes.
Do it. I approve of this
in the
message.
Budget. I can get approved as a vendor. Let's go.
Let's do it. Have a great weekend, guys. We'll see you on Monday.
Arbitrage Trade Analytics, LLC is a privately held research company. Arbitrage Trade Analytics, LLC is solely responsible for the preparation and distribution of the contents of this podcast. The opinions offered in this podcast are for informational purposes only and are not intended to function as investment advice. Seek a duly licensed professional for investment advice. For more information about the informational research and services offered by Arbitrage Trade Analytics, LLC,